So imagine a song about melting ice cream.
Right, just a messy ice cream.
Nah. And getting a bad tan line. Like a track that lasts barely over 2 minutes. Seemingly engineered entirely for a summer pool party.
A completely harmless, breezy summer track.
Exactly. But now, imagine that exact same song sparking this vicious philosophical turf war across the internet. Like massive debates about the death of human emotion in art, the ethics of AI production, and even the weaponization of millennial nostalgia.
It sounds completely contradictory, but yeah, that is exactly what happened.
It's wild. It happened on August 10th of this year. So, welcome to the deep dive. Our mission today is to unpack this incredibly polarizing music release that has literally fractured critics and fans right down the middle.
We are, of course, talking about KiiiKii's summer track, Pop Off, Pop Off.
Yes, the one you cannot escape on TikTok right now. And to figure out how this simple summer anthem became a cultural battleground, we're pulling from a pretty massive stack of sources for you today.
It's a great stack. We've got the chart data, official press releases from Starship Entertainment, the fully translated lyrics, which are fascinating.
Oh, we are doing a deep dive into those lyrics later.
Definitely. We also have a notoriously scathing review from a K-pop review blog called The Bias List, and a comment section that looks less like a music forum and more like a sociology debate about Gen Z.
Yeah, it's intense. So let's just jump right in, because we have this hyper-energetic, seemingly vapid pop song, right? But the discourse around it is so dense.
It really is. And to even begin to understand why people are so fired up, we kind of have to look at the architecture of the group itself.
Okay, let's do that. Because KiiiKiii is not your average group.
No, not at all. So they are a 5-member group under Starship Entertainment. All 5 members are Korean. And honestly, they do not operate like a traditional K-pop act.
Right. Their whole trajectory completely shatters the established blueprint of the industry.
It really does.
So, for you listening, if you aren't, deep into the mechanics of the Korean music industry, the business model can seem a little bit counterintuitive.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, the traditional formula for a successful debut relies heavily on physical album sales.
Like actual CDs.
Right, CDs. When a new group launches, the company's main goal is to build a massive, intensely loyal core fandom, because these are the fans who actually buy physical media.
And we aren't talking about buying one CD to keep in your car.
Oh no, they buy 10, 20, sometimes 50 copies of the exact same album.
Right, because it's not really about the plastic disc itself. It's essentially a lottery ticket, right?
Exactly. You're buying physical albums to collect randomized trading cards of the members, the photo cards. Or you're trying to increase your odds of winning a ticket to a private video call or a fan signing event.
It's basically like a Kickstarter campaign for the group's survival.
That is a perfect way to put it. Physical sales are the raw metric for fan loyalty and financial stability. If you sell a lot of physicals, the group is safe.
They get to keep making music.
Right. And then, maybe a year or two down the line, hopefully you release a catchy song that catches the ear of the general public. People who don't buy CDs but will stream the song on their way to work.
So that's the digital side?
Exactly. Physicals first, digitals later. That is the golden rule of the industry.
But KiiiKii's path is completely backwards, isn't it?
Completely. Just look at the numbers from their debut. Their first EP, which was called Uncut Gem, sold over 206,000 physical copies.
Which is a monstrous start for a rookie group.
A massive debut. They secured that hardcore fandom right out of the gate. But then, for their second EP called Delulu Pack, the physical sales they plummeted.
Like how far down?
They dropped from 206,000 down to just 41,000 copies.
Oh, wow. Wait, a drop of over 160,000 sales?
Yeah.
I mean, in any normal business metric, that is a catastrophic failure. If you lose that much of your core consumer base between your first and second product, you're usually dead in the water.
You think so, yeah.
Why did the hardcore collectors abandon ship so quickly?
Well, it seems to come down to a massive shift in their marketing concept. They alienated the traditional photocard collectors, but in doing so, they managed to do something much, much rarer.
Right, because while their physical sales cratered, their digital metrics absolutely exploded.
Yes. The title track from that second EP, 404, New Era, hit #1 on Melon's TOP 100 chart.
And just for context for the listener, Melon is South Korea's premier music streaming platform.
Right.
And it is notoriously difficult for a new group to crack the TOP 100, let alone hit #1. Because that chart isn't driven by hardcore fans streaming on multiple devices in their bedrooms.
No, it's driven by the general public. Hitting #1 means your song is playing in cafes,
Yeah.
and shopping malls, and grocery stores.
The casual listeners are actively searching for it.
Exactly. And it wasn't just a domestic thing either.
No, the global numbers were insane.
Yeah, the song charted on the Billboard Global Exclusive US chart for 8 consecutive weeks. They racked up nearly 71 million streams on Spotify for that one track alone.
That's huge.
It brought their total cumulative streams to around 190 million, with over 3.2 million monthly listeners.
Which completely flips the script. They lost the closed-loop physical buying fandom, but gained the incredibly elusive general public.
They did.
But, I was looking at the demographic breakdown in our source material, and there's a statistic that I just cannot wrap my head around.
The location data.
Yes, because, like we said, all 5 members of this group are Korean. There are no foreign members to act as a bridge to other markets.
Right, which is the usual strategy.
Exactly. Yet, their top listener demographics on Spotify right after Seoul are in Taipei, Taiwan, and Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia.
It's a massive anomaly. The industry standard usually dictates that if you want to capture the Southeast Asian or Taiwanese market, you debut a group with a member from Thailand or Vietnam or Taiwan.
To secure that local media coverage and hometown pride.
Exactly. KiiiKiii didn't do that at all.
Yeah.
The music itself is acting as the primary magnet. It's transcending language barriers and those traditional marketing borders.
So what is the magnet? If they don't have the traditional fandom machinery pushing them, what is pulling these massive global audiences in?
Well, a large part of it seems to be their philosophical stance as artists. They have cultivated a very specific worldview. We could call it the why KiiiKiii perspective.
Okay, I like that.
And it is deeply rooted in how this current generation processes digital culture and internet slang. They don't just sing about love or breakups.
No, they sing about the architecture of the internet itself.
Exactly.
I love this part of their lore because when you look at the track record you just laid out, it's like their creative team is doing linguistic judo.
Linguistic judo. That's a good way to put it.
Because they take the most cynical, terminally online internet vocabulary terms that are usually meant to shut people down, and they weaponize them into this earnest, undeniable pop optimism.
That's a brilliant way to frame it. Let's look at the mechanics of how they actually do that, starting with their breakthrough hit, 404 New Era. Anyone who has ever used the internet knows that 404 not found is the universal error code for a dead end.
It means a web page is broken or missing or just doesn't exist.
Right, it's a frustrating negative experience. But KiiiKiii rebranded it. In the context of their universe, a 404 error isn't a failure to load.
It's a declaration.
Exactly. The system can't find them because they have left the old system behind to build a new era. They took a digital dead end and turned it into an escape hatch.
And taking that a step further, look at the title of that second EP, Delulu Pact.
Oh yeah, Delulu.
Delulu is ubiquitous internet slang for delusional, and it is almost exclusively used pejoratively.
Usually to mock fans who have completely unrealistic expectations.
Right, like thinking a celebrity is going to marry them or believing in a wild conspiracy theory. It's a word designed to make someone feel small and completely out of touch with reality.
Yet, when you read the interview with Kaya, who is the youngest member of the group, she explicitly explains their intent to repurpose that exact word.
How does she explain it?
They flipped delusional into a badge of honor. To them, it represents the power of imagination and stubborn self-belief.
Oh, that's clever.
Yeah, in their framework, being Delulu means refusing to accept a bleak reality and choosing to manifest your own joy instead. They took an insult meant to mock passion and turned it into a superpower.
I mean, even the group's name operates on this level, like KiiiKiii. At first glance, it just looks like a quirky, stylized pop moniker.
But it's actually deeply conceptual.
Right, because in Korean text slang, the consonant ut is used to represent laughter, kind of similar to lol in English.
So ulut is literally the sound of giggling.
Exactly. But the spelling of their name has 6 is, and the lore states that 5 of those i's represent the individual members: Jiu, Lisol, Su, Ham, and Kia.
And the 6th I.
The 6th I represents their fans, who are officially called Tiki.
Which is brilliant because it blends the concept of individual identity with this massive shared communal joy.
Right. They aren't just performing for the fans are structurally part of the name. It's really clever branding, absolutely, but it also establishes a very high bar for conceptual storytelling.
It does. So you have this group that is known for these deep philosophical flips of internet culture. Which brings us to the current moment.
Right, the summer release.
Yeah. How does a group with this much conceptual baggage handle a standard, breezy summer music release?
Because K-pop groups do this all the time. The summer comeback is a staple of the industry.
Usually it just means bright outfits, a beach music video, and a song about sunshine.
But KiiiKiii doesn't just drop an album. They built an entire conceptual travel agency.
Right, the KiiiKiii era isn't marketed as a traditional music release at all. It's marketed as a package tour.
Yeah, to even engage with the promotional material, fans had to go to a dedicated website, enter their personal details, and generate digital boarding passes.
They created a user interface that makes you, the listener, a fellow traveler checking in for a flight. You aren't just a passive consumer waiting for a YouTube link to drop.
It is an incredibly immersive, thoughtful setup. It builds this huge expectation that we are about to embark on another layered conceptual journey with them.
But here is where the massive contradiction of this deep dive truly begins.
Yes, the lyrics.
Right. When we actually look at the lyrics of the resulting title track, Pop Off,
Yeah.
the song that this entire travel agency was built to promote, the contrast between the elaborate setup and the actual text is jarring.
Jarring is honestly putting it mildly, because I read through the English translation provided by AZ Lyrics, expecting another clever subversion of digital culture.
And what did you find?
On the surface, it reads like someone just opened a Gen Z TikTok buzzword dictionary, threw it in a blender with a bunch of heat metaphors, and hit puree.
Let's look at the text closely, because the prompt for our deep dive today specifically asked us to analyze these lyrics in depth. And the lyrical architecture here is fascinating in its absolute refusal to be deep. The song champions an intense, almost frantic carefreeness. Look at the sensory details in the opening lines. Melted ice cream dropping. Even if it drips, don't think too much.
It's messy. Ice cream melting on your hand is sticky, it's uncomfortable, it's a minor inconvenience that usually ruins a moment.
But the directive is immediate. Don't think too much. Ignore the discomfort.
Which is actually kind of a huge social criticism if you think about it.
Yeah.
We are in an era right now, especially for Gen Z, where there is immense pressure to care about everything.
Right, to be hyper aware.
Exactly. You are supposed to have an opinion on the climate, on politics, on every social issue. Apathy is almost a taboo subject.
That is a great point.
So to come out and just say, don't think too much, it's almost an active rebellion against that hyper-awareness.
And they double down on that a few lines later. I wait for nothing. Today won't ever come again.
It is an active, aggressive rejection of overthinking. It's an insistence on living violently in the present moment. Refusing to let the messy reality of the heat ruin the vibe. But wait, if their whole brand is about digital culture, how does this physical, sticky summer experience fit in?
Well, the more you read these lyrics, the more you notice a really strange juxtaposition.
Yeah, they are constantly bouncing between physical discomfort and digital perfection.
Yes, let's explore that tension, because it is the core of the song's meaning. The song presents these very analog, physical summer experiences.
Yeah.
They sing, left a tanning line, forgot my sunblock.
Again, a physical mistake, a bodily consequence of the sun.
But immediately, in the very next breath, that physical reality is captured and sanitized by a digital frame. They say, digital camera, hit the pose, followed by no filter 4K baby and put on the FaceTime.
Which feels so incredibly authentic to how people experience the world right now.
Completely.
Think about it. You go to the beach, it's sweltering, the sand is literally burning your feet, you're getting a sunburn, but none of that physical reality actually matters as long as the 4K video you take looks flawless.
It's as if the physical experience of the summer heat only exists so it can be broadcast over FaceTime.
Yes. The digital framing is what actually validates the physical event. If you didn't get it in 4K, did it even happen?
And that leads directly into the chorus and the double meaning of the phrase, pop off.
Let's talk about that chorus.
So in modern slang, to pop off can mean to excel, to have a great time, or to explode with energy. In the song, they chant, pop off, flipsy baby.
Right.
On one level, it serves as a literal explosion of heat and energy. The summer sun is making them pop off. But if you look at the surrounding lyrics, it also serves as a metaphor for losing one's mind in the sheer chaos of this digital physical collision.
Yeah, because they also sang, hate it when things calm down and I lost my mind, 1, 2, 3, it's hot.
They are actively courting the chaos. They don't want a relaxing summer vacation. They want sensory overload.
And there's one specific line in this lyric sheet that I think perfectly captures that exact feeling of sensory overload. It's the line that keeps popping up in all the source material, the one everyone is debating.
You mean, battery 2% full of it.
Yes. That line is a masterclass in modern psychology.
It really is, because it perfectly encapsulates the paradox of the modern youth experience.
Tell me more about that.
To have your phone at 2% battery is a universal point of anxiety right now. It means you are about to disconnect. You are on the verge of going dark.
Right.
But metaphorically, you, the person, are running on 2% battery. You are absolutely drained by the world, exhausted by the heat, burnt out by the constant demand to be perceived in 4K.
You are hanging by a thread.
Exactly. But you are still full of it.
You know, I actually wonder if there is some clever self-censorship happening there.
What do you mean?
Like, full of it is a common euphemism for being full of, another word.
Yes.
Exactly. Being at 2% battery and being completely exhausted by the nonsense of the digital world, but they can't explicitly swear in a K-pop summer anthem, so full of it acts as this sanitized, explicit language bypass that still conveys that deep frustration.
Oh, that is a fantastic reading. It's the paradox of being entirely depleted but completely energized by the momentum of the moment.
Think about your own morning commute today. How often are you running on zero sleep, completely burnt out, but you have an iced coffee in your hand and you are aggressively doom scrolling or listening to a hyperpop playlist at max volume?
More often than I'd like to admit.
Right. You are physically at 2%, but mentally you are forcing yourself to be full of it. You are running purely on adrenaline, stubbornness, and the sheer hype of the aesthetic. They've managed to weaponize the exact feeling of digital exhaustion into a party hook.
You just don't have the energy to care about the melting ice cream or the sunbird because you are just trying to survive until the battery hits zero.
Okay, I hear that analysis, and when we break it down like this, it sounds incredibly profound.
It does.
But I have to push back here on behalf of the skeptical listener.
Go for it.
Are we over-intellectualizing this?
Always a risk.
Like, are we doing the heavy lifting for them? Because I read the next stanza. Zoom, zoom, we zoom in the face, pretty girls next to me. And I have to ask, is Pop Off actually a subversive commentary on digital burnout? Or is it literally just a curated stream of rhythmic nonsense designed to sound good in a TikTok transition?
Well, that question is the exact crux of the critical debate that tore the internet apart on August 10th.
Right.
Is this high art disguised as trash? Or is it just highly effective trash?
I mean, it's a fine line.
It is. And to answer that, we have to stop reading the lyrics on a page and look at the actual sonic architecture of the record.
Okay, let's talk about the sound.
Because the music itself is a highly deliberate, scientifically constructed homage to a very specific, very loud era of pop music.
We are talking about the early 2010s.
Yes.
For anyone who didn't spend 2010 to 2014 in a sticky-floored nightclub, the sound of Pop Off is a heavy, aggressive, electronic synth-pop track.
It has a thumping, four-on-the-floor club beat, massive fuzzy synthesizers, and these highly addictive, almost robotic sing-talk hooks.
Yeah, in the audio snippet from the official YouTube release, you don't hear sweeping vocal runs. You hear this breathless, chanting phrasing.
Party, don't think too much.
Right. Messy boy crazy. Just rhythmically spoken over a literal wall of bass.
It is a meticulously constructed piece of sonic nostalgia, and we know this was entirely intentional.
Based on the interviews, right?
Exactly. According to the interviews provided in the Chosen article, member Lee Sol explicitly stated that the group spent significant time researching 2010s music, fashion trends, and senior artists to perfectly capture the essence of that specific era.
They really did their homework.
They did. Member Hum also highlighted their choreography, pointing out their use of the shuffle dance.
Oh man, the shuffle dance. That was the inescapable dance trend of 2011.
It really was. And they used it as the focal point of the routine.
And visually, they're leaning all the way in too.
Yeah.
The music video sets and the promotional photos are flooded with references to early 2010s cosmetics ads, literal flip phones, and that very specific aesthetic known as Frutiger Arrow.
Right. For listeners who might not know the term Frutiger Arrow, it is a highly specific visual aesthetic that dominated tech and advertising from roughly 2004 to 2013.
Think of the old Windows operating systems.
Exactly. Glossy, transparent buttons, ads featuring vibrant green grass, bright blue skies, water droplets, and floating fish. That is Frutiger Arrow.
It was an era characterized by a profound, glossy optimism about technology. The future was going to be shiny, clean, and totally connected.
Which contrasts so sharply with how we view tech now. So they are mining this very specific, very optimistic 2010s visual and sonic language.
The era of KiiiKiii, early Katy Perry, and LMFAO.
Yes. But here is where the disconnect happens for me.
What's the disconnect?
The sound is 2011, but the delivery mechanism is hyper-modern 2026. This is not a sprawling 2010s rollout. A typical club anthem from 2011 was an event. It had a long build-up, a massive chorus, a dubstep breakdown, and it usually ran for nearly 4 minutes.
At least 4 minutes.
But Pop Off is fleeting. It clocks in at a shockingly brief 2 minutes and 20 seconds.
And KiiiKiii didn't even drop the song through traditional channels first. They completely bypassed the standard K-pop release schedule.
What did they do instead?
They surprise dropped a massive chunk of the audio on TikTok on August 3rd, a full week before the official album release.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they used it to launch a short-form dance challenge featuring these bouncy arm-crossing steps that are incredibly easy to replicate in a bedroom.
Which creates this fascinating bridge, or perhaps a collision, between two very different eras of music consumption.
It's totally a collision.
The track utilizes the chaotic, auto-tuned, messy party pop sound of the 2010s. But it takes that sprawling energy and forcefully compresses it into the ultra-short, highly optimized dopamine hit format demanded by today's TikTok algorithms.
To put it in a different way, it's not a full meal. It's a vape hit of 2010s nostalgia.
A vape hit that is terrifyingly accurate.
I mean, you take a sprawling 5-minute club anthem, you throw it into a centrifuge, and you spin it until all the fat and structure falls away. And all that is left is the absolute pure concentrate of bass and sugar.
You don't even have to digest it, you just get the instant chemical rush and exhale.
Exactly. It is highly, ruthlessly effective. It gets stuck in your head instantly. But the question remains, is a 140-second rush of concentrated sugar actually a complete song?
And that question is what completely fractured the music world upon its release.
Yeah, the reception was incredibly divided.
The gap between how professional music critics received this song and how the fans fervently defended it is just a chasm. It is a perfect case study in how differently we value pop music today.
Let's look at the critical side first, because they did not hold back.
No, they didn't.
We have a notoriously scathing review from the Bias List, which is a highly respected K-pop review blog run by a critic named Nick. He gave the track a C, which equates to a 7.5 reading on his scale.
And his written critique is brutal.
He called the track fleeting and artificial.
His main arguments are quite pointed and speak to a larger anxiety about modern music production.
What was his main issue with it?
He argues that Pop Off takes the sonic shell of 2010's pop, but strips away the idiosyncratic human vocal performances that actually made that era work.
Right. When you think of 2010's pop stars, their voices' flaws and all cut through the electronic noise.
Exactly. But Nick argues that KiiiKiii replaces that human element with an AI-like, disinterested club beat. He feels the vocalists sound entirely disconnected from the joy they are supposedly singing about.
Yeah, his biggest sticking point is the lack of human vulnerability. He described the song not as a cohesive piece of art, but as a highlight reel or a mood board of past hits.
Just a mood board.
Yeah, like it's the aesthetic of a party without any actual people at the party.
He also mentions it in relation to the Brat Summer trend, right?
Yes, he acknowledges that the song is trying to tap into that current trend, and we should probably clarify Brat Summer for context, just in case.
Bad idea.
It was a massive cultural trend sparked by the artist Charlie XCX, which essentially celebrated being messy, vulnerable, slightly chaotic, and authentically unpolished.
It was a rejection of curated perfection.
Exactly. But Nick argues that KiiiKiii completely misses the point of that trend. He says they took the chaotic sound of Brat Summer, but ran it through a corporate sanitization machine.
Oh, that's harsh.
Right. He says it feels like a KiiiKiii song squeezed until it's just a flavorless concentrate. By making the track so perfectly engineered for TikTok, so short and so structurally flawless, they accidentally removed all the humanity from it.
It is a profound critique, really. Not just of KiiiKiii, but of the entire current ecosystem of pop music.
He's asking a huge question.
He is essentially asking, if a song is mathematically designed by a corporate agency to trigger a nostalgic dopamine response in exactly 2 minutes and 20 seconds, is it still art? Or is it just a product?
Right. But if you look at the fans' defense, many of whom flooded the comment section of that very review, they have a completely different and arguably equally profound read on the song's intentions.
The fans in the comments were going to war.
They really were, but I was really surprised by their tactics. Their defense wasn't just blindly screaming, "We like it, you're wrong."
No, they actually engaged with the critique.
Yeah, they didn't try to argue that the song was a deep lyrical masterpiece. Instead, they argued that the stupidity is the point.
The stupidity is the point. I love that.
Right. They basically said the lack of deep emotional vulnerability isn't a flaw. It's a structural feature of the genre.
Yes. One fan beautifully described the EP as an irony-free 2010s jukebox fever dream.
That is so descriptive.
They are praising it precisely because it is uncomplicated. The critic is asking for a messy human diary entry, and the fans are saying, we don't want a diary entry, we want a jukebox.
Another listener brought up a fascinating psychological angle in the comments, too.
What did they say?
They argued that this unapologetic, completely thoughtless party music serves as a much-needed antidote to our current messy world right now.
An antidote to the real world.
Yes. They pointed out that we are constantly bombarded by existential dread, complex global crises, and, like we talked about earlier, the pressure to have a nuanced opinion on literally everything.
It's exhausting.
It is. So in that context, a song that aggressively commands you to melted ice cream drop and don't think too much is pure, uncut escapism. It is a mandatory vacation for your brain.
Which is a highly valid artistic function. Escapism has always been a core pillar of pop music. The fans are arguing that in 2026, creating a space where you are explicitly allowed to be brainless for 2 minutes is actually a radical act of care.
Right. And this brings up such an interesting dynamic regarding how we critique pop. Does a song about a melted ice cream cone and a tanning line actually need human vulnerability?
Probably not.
Isn't criticizing the song for being artificial, like going on a massive looping roller coaster and complaining that the ride didn't teach you anything about 18th century European history?
That is the perfect analogy.
It's completely missing the point of the machine. The roller coaster is built for a very specific, visceral thrill. It's not a documentary. Pop-off is just a mechanism for joy.
And what makes this entire debate so deeply ironic is the massive gap between the group's intended meaning and the public's interpretation.
Oh, this is the best part.
Right. Based on the promotional interviews with members Sui and Jiu, their intention was incredibly simple.
Almost shockingly mundane compared to this whole discourse.
Exactly. They stated they just wanted to make a fun summer song to help people beat the sweltering heat. They wanted to show a playful, less serious side of the group. That was the entirety of the mission statement.
We want to beat the heat, that's it.
That's it.
But because of the cultural climate, the public and the critics took this 2-minute track and elevated it into a sprawling, high-stakes philosophical debate.
The artist says, here is a fun song for the beach. And the internet responds by arguing about the validity of hyperpop, the loss of human texture in modern music production, and the ethics of mining nostalgia.
It's wild. The fans and critics are doing all of the heavy lifting. They're projecting all of their own cultural anxieties about the internet and the future of art onto a song where the chorus is literally, and I quote, pop off, flipsy baby.
It is a phenomenal example of how art escapes the artist the second it is released.
Truly.
But there is one final layer to this controversy that I think we really need to address, and it circles back to the prompt's mention of cultural appropriation.
Okay, let's get into it.
Now, we aren't talking about cultural appropriation in the traditional racial or ethnic sense here.
Right.
We are talking about appropriating an era, a temporal subculture. Remember, this is a group whose youngest member, KiiiKiii, was born in December 2010.
Oh, wow. I didn't even put that together.
She was literally a toddler during the era this song is paying homage to. She was learning to walk when LMFAO's party rock anthem was on the radio.
So she has no actual memory of the club culture they're referencing.
Exactly. The 2010s nostalgia they are selling is not a lived memory for the performers. It is a curated, internet-archived version of an era they barely experienced.
They didn't live through Frutiger Arrow. They researched it on Pinterest.
Right. It is nostalgia as a purely visual and sonic aesthetic, disconnected from the actual historical context. They are wearing the 2010s like a costume.
Which explains exactly why the critic from the bias list felt it was artificial and AI-like.
Because it is a simulation of a memory.
Right. It's an algorithm's best guess at what a 2011 party felt like, performed by people who were watching cartoons in 2011.
And yet for the fans, that simulation is more than enough to trigger genuine, real joy.
So we really have to ask ourselves, what does this all actually mean?
Well, I think it means KiiiKii's Pop Off proves that even the most fleeting 2-minute synth-heavy summer track can become a massive cultural mirror.
You literally can't just release a pop song anymore.
No, you can't. It forces us to look at how we process nostalgia, how digital culture and the relentless demand for short-form video content have completely rewired our attention spans.
It really makes us question what we fundamentally expect from our pop music today. Like, do we want messy human connection, or do we just want a perfectly engineered dopamine hit to get us through a 2% battery day?
It shows that in today's landscape, a song is rarely just a song. It is a data point in a much larger ongoing conversation about how art is consumed, optimized, and fiercely debated in real time on the internet.
Absolutely. Which leaves you, the listener, with a final provocative thought to chew on as you go about your day.
What's the thought?
We are currently watching pop music condense into these hyper-engineered 2-minute bursts of aesthetic joy, specifically designed to soundtrack a scrolling algorithm. If this trend continues, will future generations actually feel nostalgia for the songs themselves? Or 20 years from now, will they only feel nostalgia for the 15-second dance challenge that defined them?
That is a fascinating question.
It makes you wonder, when we look back at the art of this era, will we remember the movie? Or will we only remember the trailer?
Wow.
Thanks for taking the deep dive with us today.